Yes, I am here today with the main man. As I said, I did promise an interview, and I actually managed to get a hold of this guy and well, talk to him. As I said, I constantly name drop this guy on stream. He's one of the few people that actually stream Tekken alongside me, which is such a privilege because like I really can't find anyone else doing this except the two of us. So anyway, without further ado, here's TheMainManSWE. I'd like to welcome you to the stream, and what can I say? But everybody, give a welcome to the main man.
Well, thanks, dude. Thanks for having me. And yeah, you actually found the biggest Tekken nerd on the planet. That's quite impressive, actually. And it was so nice to come across you, another dude from Sweden who loves Tekken and streams the game. I thought I was the only one.
Yeah. I actually found your videos on YouTube. I don't know when I started watching them, but I started looking at Mishima combo videos.
Oh, cool.
To actually improve, and then I noticed, well, this guy's from Sweden, right? And then I found out that he's actually he streams too, which was really cool. So with that, what can I say except it's a real honor to have you here, because personally the skill level between us two is just it's silly, because I'm a marauder and I believe you're a Gembu.
Yeah, I was a Genbu. I got demoted actually, so heavy man tiers.
Yeah.
But I'm doing rather well, and of course I use characters that are not super easy to use online.
Yeah.
I mean, the smallest amount of lag and suddenly your backdash and your electric is not on par.
Right.
But it's an honor to be on your stream. I mean, I checked out your website, your YouTube channel, and you guys do some really awesome stuff. So I mean, the honor and privilege is on my side.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna just introduce just some questions here. I was just wondering, how did you get into Tekken?
Well, it's pretty interesting. I've been playing Tekken for 20 years. I'm 29 now, so I've been playing since the first game came out. Right. And it was my father actually brought me a PlayStation magazine, and it had some pictures of Tekken, and I was like, that game looks awesome, must buy, must play.
Right.
And I just went out, got the game, and I've actually played it since then. I've never stopped. So it's like love at first sight, but it's a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually remember when Tekken 3 came out. Today, some people consider Tekken 3 to be the best one, and now I don't agree with that, because obviously it's a little bit outdated and broken, but back in the day, I actually remember my friends complaining about Tekken 3, saying that Tekken 2 was way better. And hearing that is crazy, because like, obviously these days, these old Tekken games are just, they're pretty much a novelty, because they're so broken and stuff like. They're still fun, of course, but when people actually compare Tekken 3 to Tekken Tag 2 as some sort of like serious competition between the two games, it's ridiculous. But when I started playing Tekken, we actually spoke a little bit before I started streaming here, but the first Tekken game I played was Tekken Tag 2. Not Tekken Tag 2, Tekken 2. We had a bowling alley, and you guys know this story. I've told you guys this story before, but I thought I was the best player in the world in this tiny little bowling alley. You know, I used to be literally the king of the Iron Fist tournament, right? But me and my little pants, thinking I was the highest, mightiest Tekken player ever, and it turns out I was just shit. I was shit at the game, because one day when this kid comes along, whoops my ass at it, and I thought, the one thing I'm really good at in this world, I've been just crushed. Tekken is not for me, and I literally went through like a little kid depression, because I thought, well, I'm shit at everything now. So I was just in this melancholy state, eventually until Tekken 3 came out, and I started considering myself good again, until it happened again. One of my friends came along, kicked my ass at it, and I didn't play Tekken until Tekken 4 came out again. And then I have accumulated enough skill to actually play it competitively, I would say, but But yeah, for me, Tekken has always been a series of frustrating life events, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, we've all gone through that. I had the same phase when I just played at home back in the days when we didn't have the online mode in Tekken.
Yeah.
Like in Tekken 5, for example, and I would play my brother, and I would play my small circle of friends who actually played Tekken, but who were complete scrubs, obviously.
Yeah.
So I played them, and I thought, holy shit, I'm rubber good.
Yeah.
I have to be the best player in Sweden, at least. I mean, at least. And then, of course, you would go to like Dragon's Lair, which is a local online cafe here in Stockholm, which has a couple of arcade machines. And I would there play some Swedish pro Tekken players, and they would completely hand me my ass. And it was so eye-opening, because suddenly everything I believed in, as you said, was... yeah, it was gone. I realized that I was a really bad player. It's horrible, but that's known as the bedroom warrior syndrome.
Yeah, definitely.
You're the king of your bedroom, and suddenly you're just in this big illusion where you're the king of a game, but you just don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I think it's an important life lesson. Don't ever think you're good, because it's always somebody that's better than you.
Yeah, but that's completely true, and you have to try and stay humble, but it is hard, of course.
Yeah.
It is hard.
I think it's actually more frustrating, because obviously, as you said, playing with friends and in the arcade, it's more relieving in a way, because when you play online, you don't know who you're playing as, and you don't know you can't actually talk shit to them, because when I got my ass whooped in Tekken, I could locally tell them, "Oh, fuck you," you know, but when I'm playing against people online, when I'm playing against, you know, fucking Lars players that just spam shit, it's like, I can't tell this person to, like, fuck off, because I could send them hate mail, but that's too much an inconvenience. I can't just locally just tell them... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it takes like 5 minutes, so by the end of a message, you're completely calm, and then you're like, oh, this is a bad idea, this is lame, I'm not going to send this message.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that it's so important to you that you need your opponent there physically, so you can give him your middle finger and tell him to go F himself. That's fantastic, actually.
Yeah. I guess it's sort of like... I guess it's more of like a sport element, because you physically wear your opponent down with these, like, mental torment things. Like, if you tell him his shit, it's gonna get to him. Because when I played Tekken 3 with my friends, all I would do is like, oh, you can't fucking beat me, I'm the best, you know, Jin player ever. and you know, it worked. For a while, at least, until a kid that actually played True Ogre was like... whooping my ass, and I just gave up. You know, the shit talking stopped, and I just went into this, like, you know, fuck Tekken state.
Oh, come on, you just gave up.
Yeah.
And try to adapt.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, holy shit.
Anyway, I think Tekken is such a great game, and I definitely think it's definitely, well, if not the best Tekken, well, rather, fighting game right now. I think Tekken Tag 2 was definitely the best one. I think they did a great job balancing all these different characters. It must have been such a hard task for Harada and his co-workers to do this, because, I mean, not of all is perfectly balanced, but I think they did a fair job.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. You have like 50 characters, and they are all individually extremely balanced. I mean, you have some bad matchups, certain characters against each other, but the balancing job Namco has done, it's truly terrific. But I do have a problem with the character roster, and to me, it's just too many characters, too many options.
Yeah.
Even with 20 characters, you have to remember that each character has 100 to 150 moves in their movesets. And with 50 characters, I mean, it's just too many. And this is why I think a lot of people are alienated by Tekken.
Yeah.
It's just too... I mean, if you would just count the amount of 10-hit combos in TTT2, you'd probably end up at like 100 strings.
Yeah.
It's just too much. So I'm glad that in Tekken 7 they're actually scaling down the roster. We will see about 35 characters.
Yeah. I am obviously very excited for Tekken 7, because again, I always hype up Tekken stuff, and it's not always it never truly clicks for everybody at Vinesauce, because we don't necessarily stream fighting games all the time, but the times I can do it, I really try to tell people how great of a game this is. But it's kind of hard because, again, Tekken's learning curve is so extreme in a way. I mean, it literally takes years to really get good at this. And if you compare Tekken to a 2D fighter, which is just so much easier to get into, it's hard to tell new players to, you should really try out this game, it's really fun. But here's the thing, it's not really fun if you don't know what you're doing and the complexity of the combat. So if you truly want to appreciate Tekken, you have to really put a lot of time into it to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely correct, of course. I mean, if you just take the base element of movement that we find in Tekken, which, I mean, it's a must-have. Without movement, you're a sitting duck, it's over before the match even begins. But proper movement takes like years to practice to a decent level.
Yeah.
I mean, the average player will spend like three years, I think, mastering movement. And then, of course, you have knowledge. I mean, how do I punish all the different characters?
Yeah.
It can take 1 year to learn to punish 2 characters properly.
Yeah.
So as you said, the learning curve is just, dare I say, retarded.
Yeah.
Most 2D fighters are easier to get a grasp of quickly. But I think that this is almost a negative point to Tekken and a plus side to games like Street Fighter, because Street Fighter, quickly you will get a good grasp of the fundamentals and it will be all about strategy.
Yeah.
Whereas in Tekken, for the longest time, it will be all about, and that really has nothing to do with strategy. It's just finger dexterity. So it's like you have to do push-ups basically for 3 years before you can have fun in Tekken.
Yeah.
It's rather lame, and I can understand that a lot of people don't feel they have the time to do that.
We had a little another streamer at Vinesauce, Hootie. We actually had a Fight Till 10 event.
Okay.
I challenged him in Street Fighter 4 and he challenged me in Tekken. Now the thing is, I'm a 3D fighter guy. He's a 2D fighter guy. Turns out I won straight 10s in Tekken, and he won against me straight 10s in Street Fighter 4.
Okay.
It was kind of funny because I thought I was at least competent in Street Fighter, because I have obviously played since the SNES era, Street Fighter 2. But again, 2D fighters evolved too, and I really didn't understand all these new concepts in Street Fighter. I mean, I know since Street Fighter 3 they had a lot of complexity to it and stuff like that, but I really didn't have a clue how to play Street Fighter 4. But I did win a few matches at least. We didn't win a round of it. I won a round, but not a match. But I relied on the old Ryu, Hadouken spam. So,
the classic Uber strats.
Yeah, exactly.
Hadouken infinite from the other side of the stage. Yeah.
I believe that's actually adapted into professional play. It's called zoning.
Yeah, exactly. I was so surprised to see that when I checked out a Street Fighter guide.
Yeah,
it's called zoning. Cheap bastard.
It's bullshit, because it's just. It's not a tactic. It's just playing a bad way. It's just like spamming the same thing. It's ridiculous. But I don't know. I don't really necessarily play Street Fighter, so I can't really judge or criticize it. But for what I know, it's definitely a complex game. But it is, in my opinion, a little bit easier to pick up than Tekken, because 3D fighters they have these. It's subjective what you do, depending. If you're standing a little bit to the left, to the right, if you're crouching, everything is so subjective, and the timing of it is crazy. But again, they're both very complex games, and I have a lot of respect for 2D fighters. But personally, for me, the depth, and I don't know why this is, but when I play Tekken and I really punch somebody, it feels like it really connects and I really punched somebody. In 2D fighters, it's more like I don't know, it just feels more plastic and fake. I guess it's the 2D aspect of it, but anyway, I just wanted to know what your opinion is. Why do you think Tekken is so good yourself?
Well, I mean, you've covered some of it. Mostly the complexity of a game. But I'm a huge Mishima fan, actually. The few of you who are on the stream and who know who I am know that I play the Mishimas a lot, and particularly Kazuya Mishima.
Yeah.
And it's actually the story that drew me to the Mishimas, and that's actually one of the main points of Tekken that I cherish the most. It's the story. I mean, it's pretty banal and geeky, but the story means a lot to me, and of course the gameplay of the Mishimas, you know, the extreme execution and the strategy, and the fact that it has nothing to do with doing strings, you know, or spamming combos, but it has everything to do with placing one move, the EVGF, very well.
Yeah.
And that to me, it's like doing drugs. I mean, I'm completely obsessed with it. And I always want to do better.
Yeah.
But I would say the story and the gameplay mostly of the Mishimas. All the other characters to me, they're a bonus. I play Tekken mostly for the Mishimas.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I only play Brian. I actually only play Brian. I'm not actually that invested in Brian's story. It's more about the Mishimas. I don't even play them that much. But I think that Tekken 4, for me, it hadn't the best gameplay. But holy shit, Tekken 4 story and the character development is just beyond anything else.
Yeah. I mean, that sums up my feelings with Tekken 4. I mean, to me, it's in some aspects, it's the best Tekken game. Story-wise, music, the design of the characters and the stages. It's so, what you say, it's so overlooked.
Yeah.
Most pro Tekken fans hate Tekken 4 thanks to the gameplay, but it's a really good game, really.
Yeah. The thing that really drew me to Tekken 4, like, I couldn't believe I had known the story of Tekken. Basically, for new viewers that have never seen or heard about Tekken, I can summarize it very shortly. Basically, the son of a evil empire gets thrown down a volcano. The son is badass enough to walk out of the volcano, doesn't get killed, and he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. And that's basically Tekken. But what you develop in that is like, how can you take a story like that seriously? But Tekken 4 actually did it. I don't know how they did it, but I actually got invested in the characters, and I wanted to play as many characters as possible to see their point of view. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, take Kazuya's ending in Tekken 4, or Jin's ending, or Heihachi's ending. They have a lot of dialogue, and the ending is like 2 minutes long, and holy shit, there's actual emotion on the screen. It's not just a 10-second CG sequence of someone getting punched in the face.
I want to really... I hate to interrupt you here, but I have to say... Tekken 1's endings are among the finest CGI work I have ever seen. I'm gonna show the stream right now. If you guys have never seen this, you have to see Kazuya's ending. It is nothing short of legend here.
It's fucking brilliant.
I don't know when Tekken 1 came out. Was it 96?
No, 94.
94.
Arcade and
it shows.
It shows, yeah.
Look at the smile at the end. He's like, So, again, how can you take something like that into something you actually care about? I don't know how they did it, but goddamn, I love Tekken 4. I know a lot of people will crucify me for saying that, but I seriously think it's one of the best Tekken games. I consider it better than Tekken 3. But
I do as well.
Yeah, it's a great game, and what I'd like to see is actually Tekken 7 going back to kind of the roots, because I think Tekken 5, the Jinpachi story, okay, but god damn it, I want to see that like grittiness back, because I hate it when they do these like big bad bosses, and for if you don't know, Tekken 7 is gonna have, I believe, Kazuya's mother, right?
Yeah, Kazumi.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but if she just turns out to be one of the big bad bosses that you have to defeat at the end, and there's no like repercussions or story that really is affected by the fight, it feels meaningless for me. I want to see like the characters develop in another direction, you know.
Yeah, but unfortunately, everything points to her actually being the boss of a game and actually having. I don't know if you saw this in the trailer they released for the game, but you see her in devil mode.
Yeah.
Devil Kazumi, and yeah, to me, they just kind of ruined the story, because now it's not so much Kazuya who sold his soul to the devil, but more he genetically inherited some devil gene.
Yeah.
By complete accident from his mother, and suddenly Kazuya is reduced to nothing but a tool in the story.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he was a character with motivation, you know. So I mean, I do, as you said, like the fact that we are going back to the dark, gritty theme like Tekken 2 and Tekken 4. But I'd rather see them focus on the old characters and not always have to bring in like an old Mishima like Jinpachi or now Kazumi. We already have really cool characters. We don't need anything else.
What I'd like to personally see is I think they're playing it safe with Tekken 7. The CG renders, it honestly looks like the same thing. Like, it's Tekken 6. What I'd like to see is something fucking crazy. Like when Tekken 4, they just did this new character designs. They just did something new. They didn't go, like, completely crazy with the design, but what they did is, like, they really tried something new. What I'd like to see is Namco actually doing something like they did with Soul Calibur, age the characters up really further, and see what actually happens, because, like, yeah, we're kind of stuck in the same thing. Like, it doesn't really... Honestly, I would have been okay in Tekken 5 if Heihachi really died, you know. Just to, like, completely spruce up the story, you know, something crazy like that. What if Kazuya, you know, becomes the new Heihachi? He's, like, really old, you know, something like that. And Jin, you know, there's so much potential, but in Tekken 7, they're basically just pulling another big bad at the end and calling it a day. So, I don't know, but I'm still very much looking forward to Tekken 7, and I believe we're actually getting gameplay next month.
Yeah, the weekend 3rd October to the 5th October, we're actually going to see some location testing from Tokyo.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really awesome, although they have said that only 20 characters will be playable, and the gameplay will not be what we will get in the final product. And the graphics will only be there to about 50%, so it probably won't look that terrific, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see the changes they've done to the gameplay, because I'm just hoping it's not, once again, Tekken 5 on steroids, because that's what we've had the last, 4 games.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is the future for Tekken?
Well, I mean, they are actually advertising this game as the final battle and the conclusion of the Mishima saga, so I'm just at least hoping that it's not the last Tekken game, and it might be the last game with the Mishimas, but then I don't know what kind of reboot they're going to do, if they want to jump like 30-50 years with a lot of kids to the current cast, I don't know. But the future of Tekken, if I held the controls, you know, if I was the director, it was to do as you said, to jump 20 years, Heihachi dead, Kazuya is Heihachi's age now, so he's about 70-80 years old, and he has a beard, and he's badass. Jin is middle-aged, and he has a daughter who fights like Devil Jin or something like that, the Mishima Ryu style. A lot of characters gone, replaced with new characters. I mean, as you said, like they did with Soul Calibur 5. And I would like to see a remake of the gameplay. I mean, keep the fundamentals of Tekken, but alter it in some drastic way, because right now it's getting pretty tired. I like to talk down Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and say, oh look, it's the same thing again, but lately I've been able to say the same thing about Tekken. We need progress now. And as you said, Namco is playing it safe. Yeah.
I just hope they don't make any big compromises, because I have a little bit of a worry, like, in my spine here, that they're gonna dumb down the gameplay to appeal to new players. Now, I don't really believe that they would do such a thing, but could you imagine if they simplified stuff so much that like wave dash is gone. You know, all this like stuff is so dumbed down for the new player that pro players suffer because of it. I don't see them doing that, but what if they did? What kind of repercussions would that have for the franchise?
That's actually fear among a lot of the pro players or the hardcore players who have stayed with Tekken for a lot of years. I mean, me included, 20 years. And Katsuhiro Harada, who is the director of the Tekken franchise, has actually said that they are going to make the game more appealing and easier for the casual crowd. And of course, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I for one should have. I mean, I put down more time on execution than I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I would be sad to see that go. But I think it's a price I'm willing to pay if it means that the community can grow. Because right now, Tekken it's not dying, but it's a shadow of its former self.
I think it's not necessarily a shadow, but I think it's in a limbo of not really getting better or worse. It's just stuck. It doesn't move. There's nothing being done to really evolve the franchise. And with Tekken 7 being pretty much the same stuff, it's not gonna attract new players. But there's one thing that is actually very interesting, and it's this new Wii U game, Pokken Fighters. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Pokken?
Yeah.
The Pokemon versus...
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the trailer and I almost took a knife and cut my throat.
I think Pokken Fighters... I mean, here's the thing. I think, honestly, from my point of view, it will bring out a new set of players to the franchise, at least. Even though it might not necessarily be a true Tekken fighting game, at least it'll bring in new interest, players, and some blood to Tekken, because, again, it
probably could do that, but I don't know if they have released more information on the game, but from what I could see, it was only going to be released on arcades in Japan, but I may be mistaken about that.
Yeah.
Do you know anything else?
I don't know, but my assumption is that they're gonna try it out in arcades, eventually patch it, and then release it on the Wii U.
Yeah, that probably makes sense. And I mean, if they did that, then of course, as you said, it might be able to generate some new fans to Tekken.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm actually gonna boot up something here that I don't know if you've heard about this, but did you know there's actually a lot of Tekken bootleg games?
No.
I don't know if you're on Vinesauce.com or if you're actually watching the stream right now, but there's not a lot of happening graphic-wise. But I'm gonna boot up Tekken 2 on NES.
Holy shit.
Yes, this is entirely real. It's an enigma of gaming. I've shown this before, but I cannot believe some bootleggers actually took Tekken 2, put it on NES, and said, this looks good, let's do it. Now, if you're a pro Tekken player, there's, like, I can't even describe this. It's the hellspawn of Tekken. I can't believe it exists. But anyway...
Is it complete rubbish?
It's